Think of Professor Dumbledore, and he needed the pensieve to take out memories and put them in there to store because his brain got too full. That's what we're dealing with. How can you get more use out of your AI tool, such as Claude, without hitting a wall or being throttled by usage limits? This video is going to explain how to maximize and best practices you can use to make sure you're not going to get throttled. If you're using a free or even a paid account, you're able to get the most you can out of that platform for the uses that you need. So I hang out on Reddit. I like visiting some discussions, and someone was talking about how I entered 2 prompts and already used up everything. And I'm like, how in the world did you do that? Like, I literally have daily chats I'm going with and multiple projects in my Claude Pro account, which is $20 a month. And I have yet to run into that. Now, I have seen signs where Claude is telling me it's kind of compressing a conversation so we can keep talking, which actually, this is very timely. This is actually going to help me with that as well. So hopefully this will be helpful for you to learn. So if you're using Claude regularly, you may have also seen the same thing I did, where it's saying, oh, so we can keep chatting, I'm going to compress this, or, oh, you've hit your limit, and you need to wait in order to access more Claude. If you've wondered why it seems to happen faster on some days than others, or why a friend says they've never hit it when you're hitting it constantly, like the person on Reddit, there is an actual explanation for that, and it's fixable. So I'm going to walk you through that today. This is very practical. We'll get into it, and I'm going to share my screen as well. So first things that most people don't know. Let's talk about usage limits, why they exist, and how they actually work. So people may not know this, but usage limits in Claude, and probably a lot of other AI, but we're speaking specifically about Claude. They aren't just about how many messages you send. They're about how much Claude has to process to respond to each one. Okay? So here's what's happening under the hood. Every time you send a message, Claude rereads your entire conversation history to generate a response. Every single previous message in that chat counts. This made a lot of sense to me when I researched this and found this out. I used to use ChatGPT, and I just had a running chat. I thought, well, good, all the context will be in that chat. And eventually it was like, I'm tired, boss. I can't do anymore. But basically every single previous message, if you're talking a lengthy chat, that's going to add to what it has to process. So like a 50 message conversation costs dramatically more per reply than a 5 message conversation, even if your actual question is the same length. It's also why large file uploads eat into your limits faster. Claude's processing that full document content every time you ask a follow-up question in the same chat. I do this a lot. I've had historically, and I won't do this anymore. I'm going to take my own advice here. I've had long chats going where every week I just go into the same chat and ask it to help me with a video script. And I'll even go in afterward after I've edited a video. I'll upload subtitles of that video. Say, can you help me with like a good YouTube description that sounds like me? The more I pile onto that chat, it's groaning under the weight. Okay. I could easily go to a new chat. And I'll explain more about why this particularly works in Claude Pro with the use of projects, but I'll also give you some options for, well, I'm not paying. How do I do this to go from one chat to another? So long conversations. The crux of this is long conversations in your AI tool are expensive. Fresh conversations, cheaper. Okay? Limits reset on a rolling basis, but not necessarily at midnight. So if you've hit a wall, you're probably just waiting a few hours, but not necessarily until like the stroke of 12. And you can find all this in the Claude help article, Understanding Usage and Length Limits. I have good news if you're a paid user like myself. If you're on a paid plan in Claude, that would be Pro, Max, Team, or Enterprise, and you have code execution enabled, Claude now automatically manages your long conversations. And this explains why I've seen my little message when I've seen it. When you approach a context window limit, Claude will summarize early messages to make room. And it doesn't count against your usage limit when it does that summary. How large is that context window on paid plans? It's 200K, meaning it can ingest 200K plus tokens, about 500 pages of text or more when you're using a paid Claude plan. Okay. And you'll see it like Claude will say, I'm organizing my thoughts. That means the feature's working. Your full chat history is preserved so Claude can still reference it even after some summarization. So one thing I want to show you all what to do is how to go find that. Okay, so I'm going to go here into Claude. I'm on the browser version, not the desktop version. This works just the same to get into this. You'll want to go into your settings here. Once you click in settings, you'll see, and again, I've got a paid plan, so I'll see all these options. You'll want to click on capabilities, all right? And scroll down a bit, and you're going to run into the code execution and file creation. You want to have that toggled on. That will allow you to have that happen where it can automatically compress longer conversations so y'all can still chat without running into your usage limits. There is a caveat to this, by the way. On very large first messages, like uploading a massive document at the start of a conversation, that could hit your limits in edge cases. So just be aware of that. All right. So let's talk about the 5 habits that will change how fast you hit limits. So first, I bet you can guess this one. Start a new conversation when you switch topics. Like I said, I've had different chats where one chat is about a particular topic, but it can skate into others. But yeah, just switch, just do a new chat and start going. It's the single highest impact habit change that you can do to lower and make sure you're not doing all that usage to hit the limit. You need to treat conversations like individual work sessions, finish a task and start fresh for the next one. This might be a little bit of a retrain for you. I think right now about like my Slack that I'm involved with for any of my clients or for my own contractors where, you know, within a Slack, we'll probably start a message and there's a thread going. That thing might go and go and go forever. Obviously, that's topically still the same. But you can imagine the longer that thread goes, it becomes a little bit more unwieldy. It's taking up more room. Instead, training yourself to say, hey, let me go start a new chat. If the topic deviates at all, bring up a new chat in AI, and that will help you with the usage limits. So don't use one massive ongoing thread for every piece of work you're doing. It's going to get expensive fast. All right. Secondly, this has to do with prompts and being good at prompts. Front load your context instead of building it message by message. I am bad at this. I'll just be honest. I'm getting better. But we've talked about prompts a little bit, and here's a reminder. So before you start a task, before you even start engaging, you need to ask yourself, what does Claude need to know to do this well so I can reduce that back and forth? And remember, if you're thinking about usage limits, this is in your favor. You might be like, yeah, but I like the back and forth. It's fun. It's conversational. It's pricey. It's going to cost you. So you need to consolidate. And think of it this way. If Claude was your coworker and you're like, okay, but I'm in a hurry. I've got to leave for a doctor appointment in 5 minutes. I don't have time to go back and forth. I'm going to be driving. Think of it like that. Let me give you as much and front load as much information as I can give you from the get-go. That way you can be thinking and processing and, delivering in the background while I'm driving or going and do whatever I think. Because a big thing about AI is to give it stuff, let it process that, switch tabs, switch apps, go to something else and work on it. And you can actually set notifications. So it'll be like, I'm done. I'm ready with my response when you're ready to jump back. Okay. So put all of that front-loaded context in your very first message. What is Claude's role? Think about that. If you think of it like a coworker, what's their title? What's their background? What do they have expertise in? How are they going to be good at this? What's the context of the task that you're asking them to do? Are there any constraints? I only want you to be looking at these sources. Give it all of that up front. And y'all, if I want to encourage you, voice to text is your friend here. You don't have to type all that in. You literally can narrate it into the prompt field and just go on. I mean, as long as that's all in one particular message, you do want to have your thoughts kind of organized. But that's at least all that front loaded is all going to be in one message. Okay. So use voice to text. It's your friend. Every additional clarification message that you have to send because your first prompt was vague is a token burn. So remember, it behooves you to do that all in the first. And maybe what you need to do is set up yourself a template somewhere. It can be in a text app or a notes app or whatever, where you're like, it reminds you, okay, what do I need to put in this prompt? Like I said, read off that script, know that you need to voice to text it into the prompt field, and away you go. Okay. So I'm going to give an example of this. So let me go over to my boss level. So I'm going to start a new chat. Let me go to my projects, how-to videos for marketers. I'm going to click in that. I'm just going to start a new chat here in my Claude. And I'm going to say, okay, help me write a video script about Claude usage limits. Now, sure, I could hit enter. Claude is inevitably going to come back to me with questions, as it should, because it's like, I would love to help you. And a coworker would do the same thing. They'd be like, I would love to help you. I need a little bit more information. What are we talking about? So think about that. So instead, I'm going to be like, you're a video expert in the ways of YouTube and how-to videos who is going to help me script a 5 to 10 minute long video about Claude's usage limits and how to optimize, whether for a free or paid plan. Okay, I've already given it context there, given its role. I want you to pull from Claude's help articles, but also guide me where I have an opportunity to share my screen that can be helpful for viewers. All right. I really tend to like how-to videos that go step by step, taking me through each phase of navigation or reasoning so that the explanation makes sense, as well as demonstrates what the user should do on screen. Okay, so giving it some example there. My goal is to really answer the question I've seen on Reddit a ton. I have just entered a very lengthy prompt. Please notice too, this might drive some of you nuts if you really love paragraphs. I didn't do any paragraphs. Now, sometimes I am a paragraph person, and I tend to do that in like social captions and whatever. If I hit shift enter, that means I can keep going. I can put hard returns and paragraphs in here if that's what you want to do. So that's a quick hack. If you want to just like, I need this to look pretty to your eyeball. But you literally can create a run-on like this. Or, as I mentioned, do a voice to text that does all this stuff. But I've given it all those things. I told it what its role is. I've given it a lot of different context, not even in the same parts of the paragraph. I gave it the goal, like what do we want to accomplish here? I've given it constraints, telling it what to look at, and even an example of what we want from this. Okay, so I am going to hit enter on that. And Claude is now going to think through all that stuff. So it's thinking through all this. I can go do other stuff while it's doing this. But now I want to point this out. I have everything I need to write you an accurate SEO optimized script. That is how you know you won. Okay, because so often, and that's one thing I appreciate about Claude and about AI, and good, well done AI, well engineered AI helpers, is that it will often come back to say, I need some more information in order to proceed. You didn't give me enough. I run into this sometimes too, again, when I'm being super quick and just tapping out something I need its help with. But the fact that it said, I got what I need, let's go. Okay, so that demonstrates that we did a good job. Okay, going back to the 5 habits that will change how fast you hit the limit. The third one, use projects for ongoing client work. I do this. I love this. So if you're working with the same brand, client, or content series repeatedly, projects are built for this. I'm going to hop over into one of my projects. I've got Rachel, the CEO of a podcast company. It lets you front load, again, a lot of different context and things like that. I think I actually have a video telling you how to create a project in Claude. But when you upload files to a project, Claude uses a system called RAG, R-A-G, which stands for retrieval augmented generation. Instead of loading all of your documents into every conversation, it only retrieves what's relevant to a conversation. That means your brand guidelines, client briefs, and tone of voice docs don't eat your context window every single time. This is why you want to do that. So right here is a place where you can upload files if you do have like some brand guidelines that have your writing style, your brand colors with hexadecimal values, RGB, CMYK values, or whatever, the fonts you like to use, the tone and your voice and your target audience and things like that. You can also put in instructions, and it builds memory based on what you're talking about, okay? And I want to point something out too. Instructions are something you enter at the get-go as well as files. The memory gets automatically built as you go, but I could go in and adjust it. This has been built as I've used this project. So Claude has put this together based on the context of the conversations we have. If I decided to go in, and I actually did this one time because I had a project where I had a client's 2 unique restaurants in the same project, and I realized I need to parse these out. They're not the same. Their voice is different. Their tone is different. The vibe is different. The experience is different. So I actually went into the memory of the project where I was bringing one of those restaurants out of, and I deleted references about one of the restaurants that I was putting in a new project. Okay, so you have some control here. Both you and Claude work on that memory. Keep your project instructions concise. What you want to do is treat them like a standing brief, not an encyclopedia. Long project instructions load every time. So I'm going to go check what I did. I did about 3 paragraphs. That's not terrible. If you're doing like a saga in here that's like several pages long, too much. Remember, it learns. It builds that memory based on what you're talking about. All right. The 4th habit to avoid usage limits. Don't re-upload files you've already shared in a conversation. Don't need to. You can say, hey, look back at that one. If you've uploaded a document earlier in the same chat, Claude didn't lose it. It's not like that coworker that's like, I need that link again, which is very human. AI is not. You don't need to upload it again. Re-uploading means Claude is processing that entire document twice for no reason. So don't do it. Just reference it by name or describe and say, hey, remember that CSV that I uploaded, or remember that PDF I gave you that's got this title or whatever. And usually it'll be like, well, you've uploaded a few files. I think it's this one. Is this right? And you'll be like, yes. Okay. Final habit to help you with your usage limits. Turn off tools and features you're not using. Ooh. So think about this. Maybe you don't need web search or extended thinking or connected integrations like Google Drive or Slack for particular chat. Those are token intensive. When you're doing a focused writing, for instance, or an ideation test where you don't need live search or external data, turn those things off. Remember, I told you we're going to go back to settings here. So again, this is in settings, going to capabilities once you're in settings, and scroll down. Under that code execution and file creation is this allow network egress. So this is where you can turn this off in case you're not really needing it to go out and about and find some things out in the interwebs. Okay. So you can turn that off. So just to summarize again, usage limits aren't a fixed wall. They're a reflection of how much you're asking Claude to hold in its head at once. Think of Professor Dumbledore, and he needed the pensieve to take out memories and put them in there to store because his brain got too full. That's what we're dealing with. I love analogies. Start fresh conversations more often. Front load your context, use projects for repeat clients or purposes, and turn off the features you're not actively using. Those habits alone will meaningfully change how often you hit a limit. I'll put links to all the Claude Help Center sources in the show notes. That's officially from Anthropic, so worth bookmarking. I would be willing to bet if you're not using Claude but something else, they have something similar. And that seems to be across the board, is that the shorter conversations is the way to go. Full stop. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Good luck with your usage limits in your AI tool of choice. Let me know how it goes and if this helps at all. Or if you have other suggestions for how we can all keep trucking with our AI chats. You're still here? It's over. But you should hit like on this video before you head out, and subscribe if you want to get more videos that'll help you realize how much more there is to marketing. See what I did there?